Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Hanna Jabbour, Technical Marketing Engineer Leader, part of TD&R. In this video, we're going to look at Cisco XDR integration with Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, or the EDR solution provided by Microsoft. In this video, we're going to focus on how to actually do this integration or perform the integration between Microsoft Defender and XDR. From the XDR page, Cisco XDR page, we go to under Administration, Integration. And now we're going to search for Microsoft. So part of this integration now, you can do the integration under Microsoft Cloud. The Microsoft Cloud integration, so you click Add and you can add the integration. It explains to you how this integration works. It's going to be used for multiple Microsoft Defender integration, not only Defender for Endpoint, but also Defender for Office and others. In this case, we're going to talk about Microsoft Cloud, and we're going to name it V3 because I have multiple integrations. This is the integration name, and you have to have an application, client secret, and an authentication token and for endpoint. An endpoint. In this case, we're going to look at the integration guide. When you scroll down, you can actually see this integration guide. It takes you exactly where you need to go and follow the instruction. You have to go into Azure portal, create an application, specify the type of the authentication that you need, the certificates, and you can add that specific integration. Plus, you could do how to configure Microsoft Defender for Office and Microsoft Defender for Endpoint specifically, and you go through what are the API permissions. So you have to have API permissions for Microsoft Defender to add the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint specifically, and you can add those in here. You can go under API permissions, add permission API. I'm going to show that in a bit, and use Windows Defender ATP, and you could look at the different actions. So all the instructions that are needed to do this integration are right here, and all the other permissions. So I'm going to go ahead and start going into the portal. So actually from the home page, all you need to do is click on App Registrations. Either you add a new registration or you use one of them. So we're going to do now, I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to say my XDR Defender integration. That's the name. It's under an account for this organization. For a single tenant, I don't have multi-tenancy, so I just click register. That's going to be create that application specifically. The first thing you need to note from here is the application ID. That's the first value you need, is the application ID. So I could click that one and go back to XDR. On the top side, that's the application client ID. It's that easy. The secret is when you actually create a secret. To create a secret, you have to go under certificates and secrets, and you could create a new secret. The description is my XDR integration secret. I'm gonna add that one. Copy the value from here, not the secret ID. I'm gonna go ahead and add it over here. That's the secret. The authentication 2.0 token endpoint V2. This is when you actually have to go under overview and you look at the endpoints on the top side. This is where you could find the authentication 2.0 for the endpoint. Exactly here we need the one that's specifically related to the token itself. So write this one. 2.0 token endpoint. No, this is a V1. We need the V2, so that's the one. So I almost made the mistake. You go back into the XDR integration and you specify that specific token. So you have to be careful. It's V2, not V1, and it's a token endpoint specifically. And that's basically how you do that one. All you need to do is create that one and then just add it. As we added that, you could see live that this has connected immediately. So now, because we can authenticate, this has worked immediately. All I need to do is to actually enable either Microsoft Defender for Office or both Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. In this case, I'm looking at Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. And you can specify the entity limits, which means how many sightings I could actually pull at each time. So we go back into Microsoft, specifically into that specific application we created. We go into the API permissions, and this is all following the instruction in the page. And from here, you can add a new permission, and you can specify when you say add new permission, say API my organization use, that specifically, and here you're gonna search for Windows Defender ATP, and I'm gonna say application permission, and here I'm gonna start to find exactly what I need to do following the instruction in here, in the actual XDR page. So if I look in here, I scroll down, I could find all these actual requirement, permission, application for the alert, for the score. I'm gonna follow all this instruction. In the meantime, I'll start doing that here, and at a certain point, I'm gonna pause the video in order to finish this totally. So after adding all these permissions, you can see the permissions listed here, and you can see they are in orange status. This is gonna be not granted for security demo. That's specifically because it does not granted by default. It need an admin consent required. So in this case, I'm not gonna wait for an admin. I'm gonna show you another application where this has been granted. So this is an example of another application that has different type of detections, including those Microsoft Defender ATP actual required permissions, and here they are granted since the admin has granted this access. And if you go back now to my integration, I could use that new integration itself. So now if I do, because the grant is not there, if I do add it, the actual integration is going to fail because the permissions are not there, just because inside this one it will need an admin permission to do the integration. So that's the case where you could fall into a trap of this is not working. I'm going to show now another integration that's actually working, I've done earlier. If I look at my integrations and I scroll down to find the MS Defender one, that's the exact one that's actually working. If you click on it, you can see actually it's connected over here at the top level at Microsoft Cloud level. And if you scroll down, you can actually see that Microsoft Defender for Endpoint is actually connected and it's working. So this is how the integration is done. And you have to know that this actually is using Microsoft Cloud APIs. And hopefully this video has been informative for you guys and you learn how to integrate Microsoft Defender for Endpoint with Cisco XDR. Tune in for the other videos.